Hey everyone, we just want to give our condolences out to Charlie's wife and his children, his family and his friends. Charlie, we're gonna all miss you. You've definitely impacted a lot of people's lives, not just in your area, but globally for that matter. And many are mourning you and are gonna miss you. But we'll get to see you again.
Amen.
Amen. .315 dispatch. I'll be 1041.
10-4, 315.
.315 dispatch on 1076.
10-4, 315.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Cop Talk with Bear. Today we're gathered here with Tater.
Tater.
Finally got to join us, man.
Yeah, finally.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Finally.
for coming on to the show.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome.
We're going to be doing episode 2. So, just before we start off, Ed and I, we pray and thank you for today and giving us life and allowing us to awaken today. Thank you and praise you for going out before us, beside us, and behind us, and for your love and mercy and grace, and slow to anger, and for shedding your blood for us, for our sins and the curses of those sins, for being true and faithful, and for your Torah, your word, and your teachings. Thank you and praise you, Adonai, and pray this you help us out with this recording today. Amen.
Amen.
All right, man. Well, again, thank you for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So this is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to give out some of your own background.
Yeah. So, came out of the military 2017. Decided to go work in the oil field for a while, and then decided that I had a higher calling me, so I decided to go law enforcement. Been doing it since 2019. Had a few breaks in service here and there, but it always called me back. So I've been back with Terry County Sheriff's Office for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years next month. I've been back. It's been good. Been able to help a lot of people along the way. I'd say this career is definitely a very rewarding career. I mean, it has its ups and downs, just like with anything else out there.
Right.
But that's pretty much the gist of it. Midwest born, Texas transplant, I guess you would call it.
All right.
I was born south of the Mason-Dixon line, but everybody around here says if you're not born south of the Red River, you're still a Yankee, I guess is what you call it. So, I love Texas. I don't ever plan on leaving.
There you go. Yankee.
Yep.
Nah, you good people though, man.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So, how long and what branch were you in?
I was in the Army, did 8 years. 4 of it was active duty, and then 4 of it was National Guard.
Okay.
So,
Nice. Did you enjoy your job when you were serving?
yeah, it was good. I was a fueler. Got to fuel airplanes, helicopters, tanks, just about everything. It was cool, especially whenever you get the hot refill Apaches. That was cool. It's loud, but it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you got to see a few different pieces of equipment.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. So how long total for law enforcement have you done?
Well, if you look at my T code, it says 5 years.
Okay.
So 5 years altogether.
Okay.
Got my intermediate license last year, so got my military time added. So sometime next year, I'll pick up my advanced peace officer license.
Good. Yeah, I'm currently trying to get mine too. What is it, intermediate then advanced?
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully by this year in November, I should get my advanced. Dang, I figured you'd get yours before mine.
Yeah, because that military, man, they gave me like 3,300 hours.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
So you've worked a little with police departments, and you've been most of your time's been in the sheriff's
Been
office?
at the sheriff's office. So I worked at PD. That's where I started off. They sent me through the academy. Did about 8 months there, and just had a little bit of trouble with the FTO program. So I left. Went and did some more oil field stuff, and then sheriff down there gave me the opportunity to come work for him. So I started off in the jail for a few months, and then whenever some other guys finally hung their hat up and retired, I was moved out, and that's when I became your partner.
Awesome. Man, what a fun time that was.
Oh yes, oh yes. Good times, good times.
I will say it worked out really well overall. Definitely clicked. And then at least I didn't have to completely train you as being completely wet behind the
Right,
ears.
right.
So that was helpful.
Yes, yes, definitely was. It was good times.
So just out of preference, you prefer sheriff's office or working for a PD?
I prefer working for a sheriff's office over a PD any day of the week. Any day of the week. Man, I tell you, the call volume difference is crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, we get, just like from down there, that when we'll go a month where we're running back to back to calls, and then we'll go 3 months and not have maybe 2 calls.
Right.
I mean, PD, they run back to back to back every shift, so.
Right. Yeah.
But
It varies based on department, region, area,
Right.
things like that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I'm the same way. I definitely would prefer working for a sheriff's office
oh yeah,
out of working for a PD. But that's me.
Hands
But I
down.
got my reasons why too. I mean,
right.
let alone the fact, patrol-wise,
Yes.
you're restricted to the city limits as a PD officer, and then
Yeah.
with the sheriff's office, you have the whole
You
county.
got the whole county. It's not, like I said, you're not restricted. You get the whole county to drive around, and you actually see new stuff. It's weird. You may not think that you see new stuff, but you actually do.
Yeah.
Every time you're driving around, you're like, oh, well, I don't remember that being there, but well, all right, cool.
Right, and you get to see, people progressing if they buy
Yeah.
land and they're building
Yeah.
a home and barns or whatever, and just seeing them progress with what they get going.
Yes.
So I gotta ask you, you're a man of faith.
Yes.
How often would you say, your own experience of being an officer, and I know it's not just being an officer. Well, I guess I could ask it in this way: you as an officer, and you, even with your military service, how often would you say it is running across individuals or on a call or dealing with something, and there was a demonic ordeal going on at that point in time? How often would you say that actually occurs?
I would say I've ran across it a few times.
Yeah.
I have. Like, for once in Andrews, I ran across one guy that, I'm pretty sure he was high on some kind of narcotic, but there was something else going on, because even whenever we deployed the taser, granted, some narcotics, whenever you're high, a taser, it ain't going to do nothing to you, but there was just, I felt that presence, like there was something there, something else going on. And
Your spiritual
Yeah.
warfare dinger was
Yeah.
going off.
yes,
Okay.
there's been a few times dealing with some people in Brownfield, out in the county, or just helping PD back in PD up, where I've felt like, yeah, there's something demonic, there's something evil going on with this person. Like, we gotta figure something out with this person.
Right.
Get them the help that they need.
Right. No. And I'm sure I've talked to you about it, along with I've talked to other individuals for sure that I know of, but mentioned the fact of, there's times that we're dealing with an individual and knowing they're going to classify it as a mental issue or a mental health issue, when sometimes we joke about it, but in all seriousness, yeah, they might need an exorcism or they've got demonic crap on them severely or whatever the case, and they need, yes, they need help, but I don't know. They don't,
yeah.
the same stuff that was known and out there to help, it's not the same anymore. You said you come across it a few times. What about, you worked in the jail though too, right?
Mm-hmm.
How often was it in the jail, that presence of the demonic crap in the jail?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Especially with the few certain inmates that were there whenever I was working on the floor. Like, I mean, I think there might still be a couple in there right now, but the thing is, like, a lot of them, they always pray Santa Muerta.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll have shrines over and everything else in there. And, you know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Just all the pagan and demonic
Yep.
and witchcraft and all that sort of crap.
Yep.
So, would you definitely be highly encouraging law enforcement personnel, jailers,
Mm-hmm.
emergency responders, everyone to be mindful and be praying their armor on,
Yes.
God's armor on them daily
Yes.
and before shift, and pray that nothing goes with them or follows them
Yep.
whenever they leave and go home?
Yes. 100%. 100%, dude.
Hey guys, just real quick. Remember, if you like the content and you want to help out the channel page, leave a like. Also, feel free to share the video with friends, family, co-workers, someone who's just simply might enjoy the video, or someone who needs to hear the content. Also, subscribe to the channel. That's definitely going to help us out. And if you don't want to miss out on any of the future content, hit the bell notification. You'll be notified of any future video that comes forward from this channel. Thank you, and we'll get back to the video. I don't know how often you get asked about this. I've been asked a few times, and I remember hearing and watching the video on someone else talk about it, and I was like, and it made sense, and then it started happening quite a bit to me, and I was like, oh yeah, now I get it. About people not in law enforcement or not emergency responders that don't have a clue or get it or just never worked that field.
Right.
But coming in and always asking that same old question, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
How annoying is that to you?
It gets very annoying. It does, because I know we're going to go into it later here in a little bit, but that's the thing, is like every time they ask me, what's the craziest thing you ever seen? And I want to look at them like, you don't want to know.
Right.
Like, the craziest thing I've seen would literally break you.
Yeah.
It would break a normal person. And
look, the last time I got asked, I told them, I was like, well, crazy in what way? Because you're saying the craziest thing. You want to know the craziest heart-wrenching thing, the messed up thing, the most gruesome thing that I've seen, the most heartfelt thing, what exactly are you specifically wanting to know? I mean, ask me that more directly, not say, what's the craziest thing you've seen? Like, I saw a pig fly because an 18-wheeler hit it, knew it.
Right.
I mean, what is it that you really want to know? Because in most cases, they're asking about, they want to know the gruesome thing, and I'm like, dude, no.
And that's the thing, like, that's the general public, like general civilians, that's what they always ask.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's what they want to know. They want to know what's the most bloodiest, gruesome, horrifying thing you've ever seen. And I'm just like, why do you want to know that?
Right.
Like I was like, make it make sense. Like, why would you want to know?
Are you wanting to know for teaching purposes?
I'm like, sometimes I want to tell them, like, if you want to see something like that, get on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. They're just wanting to be nosy.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
They're being on the 1050 and people driving by with the cameras out, just recording the whole time.
Yes.
Like, watch the road,
Yes.
pay attention to what you're doing, stop being nosy and go on. It ain't nothing to record. I mean,
and that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of things in this job that will literally irritate the crap out of me, but that's one thing that irritates the most out of me. It's not so much that they have a right to do it. It's the principle behind it is have respect.
yeah.
Like, respect, because what if that's the video that their family sees that's how they find out, that kind of thing.
Right.
And not only that, if you're recording and you cause another wreck because you're
That's
recording,
gonna piss me off.
that's royally gonna piss me off.
Yes, it is, and I'm gonna give it a butt chewing on that one for sure, and
100%.
let you know just how much of an idiot you are. And
Yes, 100%.
here's your
All day.
ticket. Have a good day.
Yes.
So yeah, breaking into that with getting asked that all the time. So would you be willing to share without getting into any identifiers or anything in so specific, but would you be willing to share what's the worst call that you've had?
Yeah, definitely 100% because I've always growing up, I was always told that a man's supposed to hold his emotions and everything, and I mean, I think it's just a generational thing. But being in this type of field, it's better to talk about things instead of just letting it bottle up because you never know, you might go to a call and you just dump on them, kind of thing, and they're on the receiving end of something that they didn't deserve because you're there to fix their problems. You're not there to offload your problems
Right,
on them.
and help them best you can. And we deal with something, and then we show up, and we have to act like you're our first customer of the day without, hey, yeah, I just pulled 5 bodies out of a vehicle, or just dealt with something really awful and gruesome or whatever, and now I got to show up because you're yelling that your neighbor's music's too loud.
Yeah.
And I have to act like you're my first customer of the
one
day.
of the day. I have to shut everything else off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't even think I was there maybe 8 months maybe on the street after. It had been raining that day, and I don't know. That's another thing about this job. Like sometimes whenever you wake up in the morning, you pray, you do what you do to put that armor on, but just you go throughout the day and like those little spidey senses or that gut feeling just kicks off somewhere, either in the morning or throughout the day. It's like something bad is going to happen. I mean, it's just it is what it is in this job. We all get that feeling. But that day, like I just had that feeling whenever it started raining really bad. Which, if anybody's watching this knows anything about highway before they fixed it, you know that you could go out there and spit on the highway and it would cause a wreck. But needless to say, this guy was coming home with his 3 kids coming back from Lubbock, and he hydroplaned. Well, when he hydroplaned, he skid through the median, and he was hit on the passenger side of the vehicle where his kids were at, which all 3 kids, 2 of them were ejected, 1 was still in the vehicle, still in a seatbelt, but all 3 of them died on impact, and that's where I see the solace in it, is that they died on impact because they didn't really, I mean, I wouldn't imagine what was going through their heads whenever, they were skidding through, but the solace in it is they were killed on impact. But that one there, that's the thing about this job, is like you're not taught or no one really prepares you for a call like that. It's just kind of, it's inevitable. You're going to get a call like that. I mean, in this job, whether it be 6 months in or whether it be 20 years in, you're going to get a call like that. It's going to happen. I say that, I don't know. There might be some guys out there that have worked 30 years and never had something like that. But
it's like some that never pulled their gun out of their holster.
Well, that too.
The 40 plus years that they've worked somewhere.
Yeah. And, it sucked. But what hit me the hardest with it is because I have kids myself. And the one kid was around the same age as my oldest. And just seeing that, like, it makes you, I don't know how to explain it. Like it hits you different. It does, especially like I said, just because you had kids, it hits you different. But at the end of the day, it made me, I know it might sound bad to say, but it made me feel better knowing that God took him instantly and didn't let him suffer or anything like that, or let any of them kids, per se, suffer. And that was the sad part about that one too, is we had people trying to record and everything else. We had to block fire. We had to pull fire trucks into the median and everything else to block the scene off and this and that. And I tell you, the hardest part about this job is death notifications, because the grandpa, if I remember correct, the grandpa pulled up on scene and he wanted to know where his kids were. And me and the state trooper had to literally sit there and be like, we don't know what else to tell you. They're gone, And to see the life, just, how do I explain it? Just to see the life leave somebody's eyes because they just lost their grandchild. That was the hardest part about it. And, it took some time. It did.
Yeah.
It took about, I had nightmares about it every time I closed my eyes, especially the first few nights after that. Every time I closed my eyes, that's all I seen. Just it replayed over and over in my head. And then that's one thing I do love about, Sheriff, because he always checked up on me. You always checked up on me. Everybody always checked up on me, making sure I was okay. And that's the other thing about this job is we got to have each other's backs. Because if we don't have each other's backs, then then what's the point?
Yeah.
Of having a partner or working together.
Well, I was concerned about you. I felt alive. I felt bad because, and if I remember right, it was something with that shift. I was supposed to work or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I think
can't remember
that's
if
what, I don't
left
remember.
or what. And then I heard
what
about
it
it.
was.
And felt bad that I ended up actually having that call and having to deal with it.
Right.
And then I got told about it. So, I went and rewatched, I think it was your video feed from your unit, to get an idea of how bad the accident looked and everything else. But yeah.
And that's the thing, like I've seen accidents, I've pulled up on accidents and this and that throughout my, 5 years of doing this, but pulling up on that one, even before I even knew anything about it, but pulling up on that one, it literally looked like a bomb went off. Between, you see videos of IEDs going off, overseas and stuff. That's literally what it looked like. Like they ran over an IED like that. That's what that scene looked like. I've never seen anything like that. And, there we have a lot of volunteer firefighters, and a lot of them are either still in high school. Some of them are 18, about to graduate high school. Some are just, barely out of high school. Young bucks, basically. Still wet behind the ears, don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And, some of them were pulling up, and I had to, I had to look at one of the firefighters, and I'd tell her, like, no, don't let them come up here. They don't. You were
even looking out for the younger guys.
And that's the thing is, like, they're eventually going to see something like that, but I didn't want that to be their first scene.
First bad one.
First bad one,
whatever, yeah.
I'd rather, save them a little bit longer from seeing stuff like that, because at that age, I say you're mature, but a lot of times, you're still maturing at that age, but
Heck,
I don't know.
In my 30s and
Yeah.
still act like a kid. So
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. I guess whenever you're that age, I don't really think you have the thought process to process something like that.
No, young and think you're invincible
Yeah.
and nothing's gonna phase you. And
Yes, and that's so. And, we had the Lubbock Fire Department crisis team came down that next week, and we had a I guess you call it therapy session, and we sat around in a big old circle because there was probably between me, fire department, volunteer guys, and a couple of the state troopers. Man, there was probably 30 of us in there that had been on that scene, that had seen all that. And so they came down, they talked with us, they did some offline one-on-one stuff to kind of make sure we were spiritually there, still there if we needed any, private prayer or anything like that.
Right.
And I tell you, that really helped too. That really helped a lot. And that's the thing, and that's also the thing. Some of those firefighters, man, they said they've been a firefighter for 10 plus years and never seen anything like that. And then just like going back to, like I said, a lot of times it could be 6 months in, it could be 20 years down the road before you see something like that.
So say it wasn't just you affected, but everyone.
Yeah.
There, it
Yes.
was a mental jack up.
It really was. Yeah, it was definitely a hard time, but over time it's gotten easier, and then talking about it makes it easier too.
Right.
Oh,
Like discussed in the first episode, having those debriefs is, I'd say, a good way of at least having your officers take that first step and opening it up, even though they might not realize that's what they're doing, but they're reoccurring and they're walking through the steps on that debrief of taking that first step. At least they're taking that first step of talking about the incident.
yes.
So, and then after that, talking with your other officers or whoever it is that you know that you can talk to about said stuff.
Yeah.
Was it easy for you to let out on the emotional side? I mean, whenever you were there on call, seeing what you had and dealing with what you had, I know how we're taught and trained and told. Did you have to suppress the emotions into there, or was it automatic for you? I know depending on sometimes on the day, the situation, sometimes I feel those emotions start to surface just slightly, or they're there at the forefront and I have to shove them down and do my job.
That was, yeah. Whenever I first arrived on scene, I was like, dang, this is a bad wreck. And I had a lady walked up to me and she goes, there's kids. And I said, what do you mean there's kids? And she goes, yeah, there's kids and they're gone. I was like, okay, well, we need to get them covered up. And, at the time, I was thinking maybe it's just a bunch of teenagers or something like that. So, and then I walk around and I see the one on the ground on the asphalt. And I said, we need to get this child covered up. So we got the child covered up. And I looked inside the car and I seen the other child and I was like, I think about that time, that's whenever it hit me, but I was still in shock at the same time. Like, I didn't know. I was like, all right, I'm in the mode of we need to shut the highway down. We need to do this. We need to do that. Like, there's a million different things that are going through your mind at that time. And whenever they're like, well, there's another kid. And I said, well, where's the other kid at? And they're like, over there. And I walked down there and I seen that kid. That's whenever it hit me. Because that kid was around the same age as my son. That's whenever it hit me. And I was walking off and I got on the phone with Sheriff. And I told him, I was like, hey, we got a triple fatality. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, we got a triple fatality and it's all kids. And it went silent. Like, there was nothing. Like, me and him both, it went silent. But whenever I was telling him, I was choking up.
Yeah.
Whenever I was telling him. And he said, all right, I'm on my way. And I'm going to call Chief. And I'm going to call William. We'll be on our way. And after I got off the phone with him, I was like, you gotta, we gotta
take a moment just to collect yourself and get back to work.
And get back to work. So I was like, I have a scene here. I have 3 kids here. I can't be letting people just willy-nilly pull up, and I need help. So I started asking people that were standing around to help me, give these kids some respect, more or less, because people were still driving by, like, video recording and stuff like that. I was like, we need to, out of respect for these kids. And then not only that, the driver, he was still trapped inside the car, so I'm sitting there trying to talk to him. He's like, where's my kids? Where's my kids? And that's the other thing that kind of sucked is you can't tell them, like, because you don't want to have to deal with.
You don't want to make especially with them being trapped in unknown injuries, you don't want to add to the risk factor of their own health. You try your best to work around on, and just stick to trying to help them out specifically and not make it worse for themselves.
And that was the thing, like, one of the firefighters looked at me and I was like, nope. And I looked at the guy and I told him, I was like, your kids are okay, your kids are fine, we're attending to them too, but right now we've got to get you out of this car because you're trapped. And so we finally got him out of the car and got him in the back of the EMS. And I remember opening up the door to talk to him. He looked at me. He looked at me dead in the face. I said, my kids are gone, aren't they? And I said, I can't. I was like, I can't tell you that. Like, I at that time, like, I suppressed everything, but it was still at the point of fact of I just couldn't get past knowing that his kids were around my son's age. So that's what made it difficult to tell him. So I had to stay, which state trooper had already showed up and took over the scene anyway. So I had her go talk to him. I was like, it's not that I didn't want to tell him, and I don't think it's necessarily, like I said I can't. I don't think it was necessarily that. I just don't think that
It was
it was hard. I don't think it.
Trying to keep yourself in check.
Yes.
And risking stating and telling him was possibly might lose it yourself.
Yeah, might lose it myself, or we might have lost him because of the trauma that he had already sustained from the wreck. I didn't want to have to tell him and then him lay there on that bed and code because of a broken heart.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
kind of deal, And then EMS is sitting there trying to save him.
Right. So, were you able to deal, as I have said on the previous episode about talking about it, definitely was a key factor. Me personally, I had forgotten to deal with the emotional side of things.
Right.
So I ended up having to blow up on an individual, and I felt terrible for her, but I was able to get that all out of my system, and now I know and remember, yeah, let's talk about it. Great.
Right.
And eventually, I need to deal with the emotional side of it.
Yeah.
How were you able to deal with the emotional side of it near the end of the day, or at some point afterwards, or did it take a minute, or did you even remember?
Whenever I got home, the wife kind of sat there and she talked to me, and I choked up, I teared up, but it wasn't like a full dump.
Yeah.
The full dump didn't really come along until we had that crisis meeting. That's kind of when the full dump came. But, that's another thing, with this job. It's hard on our wives too, but to have them there to be your support system, it helps out a lot.
Definitely.
It does.
Pays off pretty good to have a really blessed and great support system.
Yeah, I'm forever grateful for that.
Yes.
Really am. And just all around, it was, I think I was still just traumatized and more or less just didn't want to believe it. I guess more or less I was just, it's kind of one of those things like whenever a family member dies, you don't want to believe that they're gone, but they are, but it was kind of the same sense with that. It was like, I was like, I just...
It's taking some time for the numbing part of it to
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
For a full dump of the emotion to come out.
Yeah. And, that's the other thing that whenever stuff like that happens, we see dead bodies all the time. People pass away, we show up, we have to do wait for the JP and the funeral home and stuff. That stuff happens all the time, you get so used to it. But, stuff like that, I don't think you could ever get used to that, especially whenever it comes to kids. Kids are different.
It is.
I've been on fatality wrecks where it's been, older people, it is what it is, you say a little prayer for them and that kind of stuff. But
it still sucks.
it still sucks, but, whenever it comes to kids, it's different.
It's a whole different animal, yeah.
And,
I'd agree.
we had one earlier this year. We had a fatality. It was a 17-year-old kid because, and I don't remember if it was my now partner's first fatality or not. I don't remember if it was, but, I always checked up on him anyways because, he's still a kid. He's 17. But,
Not your partner, but the individual that passed.
But the individual that passed, yes. I still checked up on him, made sure he was all right, because, he had to see that too. He's been on other fatalities and, been on death calls and stuff like that, but, to see a younger kid younger than him,
It's a little different, especially when it's a young teenager, life still fully ahead of them.
Yep.
For me, before I started getting any of my first fatalities on traffic accidents, I was getting several suicides.
Yeah.
And was exposed to that per se first before I started seeing the fatalities on traffic accidents.
Right.
Which some of those were pretty rough in themselves.
Oh yeah.
Have an individual to plan and follow through on it, but they planned it so much that they left a note. They went through all the steps as far as what they were planning on doing, and in fact, they ended up actually leaving. They hung themselves. They left a knife right beside them for whoever to find them to cut them down with. They went as far as through to think that out, and that I think that was actually my first one.
Right.
My first suicide that I worked, and that one, just mind blown, game change on. Wow.
Right.
They went through those steps to plan ahead for that.
Right.
And that's something that was just
that is definitely
took a turn for me. And I had mentioned, I'd share something similar with me. One of the things that jacked me up then, without realizing it, just on the fact of, and then let out the emotion side of things. One of those was a 1050 that I had worked the safety department. We're taught briefly, at least I was in the academy. I know they mentioned it, but to actually, you think it's going to be some huge event where you have to do triage.
Right.
On dealing with people, ones that they're not going to make it in the next 5 minutes, and the ones that still can make it, and you have to do what you can for everyone and make everyone comfortable, etc.
Yeah.
But you think it's going to be some big event where you're going to have multiple casualties. Multiple is 2 or more, and the 1050 that I had done, Lieutenant was out with me on that one too. Wet road on a curve. Their work pickup flipped. We pulled up. It was a bad accident. Equipment thrown everywhere. And the driver was busted up really bad. The other individual was already determined to be deceased. What was bad at that point in time, I don't know if it's still the same or not, but we only had 3 ambulances available for the county. 2 were already being used in transports that 1050 happened, and we only had 1 ambulance available. And the driver was busted up, still conscious, still alive, communicating. The other individual was not and was already determined as deceased. And I remember thinking when I'd seen the driver, someone was working with him. I went around to check the other side of the scene, and I came across the other individual who they had gotten out and was already determined deceased. And I just remember thinking to myself, I mean, really, guys, I knew what was going on. I knew we were doing triage. I knew all we could do at this point was get the other individual loaded. But that other part of my mind was thinking, what else could we do? What else could we do? I mean, the dude could have simply just had a heart attack. And that's actually what happened. He had a heart attack. And I remember thinking we could have thrown him in the back of the truck and had several guys back there and taken him to the closest hospital or something. But you can what if yourself countless times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the ordeal played out the way it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was like one of the out of the few that really jacked me up emotion-wise that
Yeah.
kept bottled up.
Yeah, that was an absolutely bad stretch of time in the county during that time period because
We were
it was
having multiple
fatalities. We were having
1050s.
like almost every shift we were having a 1050, and man, there was a stretch there. I think we probably had 4 or 5 fatalities in a month. But yeah, we had a little stretch right there that was pretty bad. But you get in those in this job where it's just back to back to back, and then I think most of the 1050s we've had in the county here lately has just been with deer, thankfully.
Well, yeah, that's good. I mean, it could always be worse.
Oh yeah,
It could be a cow.
Yeah, but I take that back. I did have one with a cow here a few weeks ago
Y'all
out there by the old dairy farm.
still getting 18-wheelers playing bowling alley?
No, that one farmer, I think he finally got tired of his cows getting hit, so he moved them back to the other side of the county.
That'll work. Better fence.
Yes, better fence on that side of the county.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we get those calves out and 18-wheelers at night, man, just bowling pin them.
Yeah. Plowing right through them.
Yeah.
Shredded beef.
Very shredded, tendered, and messy. Yeah. What's something that you would share with fellow officers or responders, or those even considering going into this type of field?
It's always. I mean, it goes without saying with this job, or even so much being in the military, but with this job, always keep your head on a swivel. In the world that we live in today, we're not a very well liked people, and just always keep your head on a swivel. Not only that, if you're going through something, you've seen something, or you're just in a dark place, reach out, talk about it. Don't think just because, and I'm really speaking towards the men in this, is just because you're a man doesn't mean that if you show that you want to help yourself or you want to talk, don't let it take you over that you're weak, because you're not weak. You need to talk about it. You need to let that out. I've had to learn a long way in this job that keeping crap bottled up, because whenever you keep crap bottled up, you dump it on somebody that doesn't deserve it on a call or anything like that. But my biggest advice to anybody in this job, especially towards the men in this job, is talk about your damn things. Don't let it bottle up. And not only that, always keep your head on a swivel. And, anybody coming into this job, just know that the brotherhood in this job will outlast any brotherhood that you've probably ever been in your entire life. Because there's, it goes without saying that thin blue line. That thin blue line, it stands between us and the evil out there. And, we got to keep that thin blue line strong. And, there's people out there that say, oh, well, thin blue line, we're a cult and all this other stuff. No, it's a brotherhood. And it's something that, we got to have each other's backs at the end of the day. Because, I mean, who's to say that, you burn that bridge with somebody and then boom, you're in a situation you need help. Are they going to be there for you? That kind of thing. But yeah, I'd say that's my biggest thing. I'm not saying that women go through the same thing in this job, because they do. And, in a very male-heavy job, because, it's just, it is what it is with us, because we're
we're taught and told different and brought up
Yeah.
from the older generations.
Yes.
Ah,
We're supposed to serve and protect the Lord, and
and it don't.
or serve and protect. The Lord has taught us as men that we need to serve Him and protect everybody below us.
Sheepdogs.
Yeah, more or less. And that's what I just have to say. And it's like, not saying that women, again, going back, not saying that women go through this, because they do. They absolutely go through the same stuff that we do. And, same thing to women. Talk about it. Don't hold it in. Don't bottle it up. If you don't want to talk to a fellow male officer, find you a fellow female officer. Find you
someone
that you can open up and talk to. Because again, going back, at the end of the day, we all we got. We really are in this job because nobody really likes us. I mean, general public can say all day long, well, we support you, have those thin blue line stickers on the back of their cars and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, in this job, we really are all we got. We got to be each other's support system.
Yeah. So something that you had posted and brought up, and something that we kind of talked about, which brings all this up as well and goes along with what we're talking about. And I'll go ahead and try and show it up on the screen at this point. You had the officer arriving home, wife embracing him, asking about his day, and asking, sincerely, anything happened today? And he's like, no, nothing. And then you have the thoughts of dealing with a dead body and dealing with the accident or whatever, and just kind of breaking down. Very important to have someone to find and be able to talk to.
Yes.
And to open up with on stuff that you're dealing with. And, with me, and I know everyone's different, and I know everyone comes across a different thing, and some people's aspect on it is they're protecting their spouse by not dumping that on them or bringing that up, because you don't want them to worry, you don't want them to set to each his own, whichever. People can bring up the argument, well, you're going to have them worrying or whatever because they don't know. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you're letting them fill in the blank with whatever they can imagine. And if, your husband or your wife, whoever it is, you're married to or care about you, or somebody that cares enough about to ask what's going on, what happened, did you have a good day, whatever. With me, I know that my wife's a strong woman and she's very helpful, and I know that I can confide in her and opening up and telling her and letting that emotion side come out as well, and getting that took care of.
Yeah, definitely. Same way. I may not have been, may not be as good as I should be with it, but definitely because, to each their own, like you said, but I don't know. Part of me thinks that sometimes it's better to tell them, but I get the whole not wanting to tell them because, a lot of wives, they either have a job or, they are a stay-at-home mom, they're at home with the kids all day, or, they're at home with one of the younger kids all day. And don't get me wrong, younger kids, they can be overstimulating, and then you come home and you offload everything that you've seen, that can add to their plate. But at the end of the day, that's the thing about my wife. Like, she always tells me, just tell me, tell me how your day went, or, call me throughout your shift, and, just kind of tell me what's been going on, that kind of stuff, because, it helps. It does. Because that's, again, going back to it, you need that support system. You need somebody that you can talk to vent to, and everything. And that's what I've been kind of teaching this young pup that's with us right now. 'Cause he is. He's still just a kid. I mean, I say he's 23 or 24, something like that. But to me, he's still just a kid.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been teaching him in this line of work is that, you need to talk, you need to vent, you don't need to just let the crap bottle up and all that good stuff. I was like, because again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. You let that shit bottle up, you go to a call and you're trying to fix somebody else's problems, and sometimes
You might give off a wrong
yeah.
attitude towards that individual and not help your situation or that call at all.
Yeah, you may show up there and you know what you got to do, but through the course of the call, while you're there, you start putting off that. Well, I don't care. Why am I even here? Like you should have fixed this 20 years ago. Type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of the whole reason why I shared it is because it goes along with that stigma of that a lot of men, they don't want to tell their wives what they do on a day-to-day basis at their work because they don't want to put that added weight on them. But she's there for a reason. She's there to be your support system. She's there to support you. And that's one of the main things that God put her there for, is to support you and to be your person that you can confide in and can open up to.
And to help her and to protect you.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Anything else you want to bring up?
Nothing I can really think of this time. I think that's about it.
All right. Well, again, Tater, thank you for coming out and being able to record for episode 2.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So
now we can get our buddy up here to talk about the jail, but I don't know if we can get him up here. So,
Yeah, that'd be great. And, I mean, the jail plus the dispatch inside aspect, he could be able to do both. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
So if you're watching and you know who you are, we'd like for you to go.
Yes, we'd love for you to come, especially dispatchers, because dispatchers are
our lifeline.
Yeah, they are our lifeline. Without them,
Yeah, we definitely have some issues without them, and it's always pays off to have a good dispatcher.
Yes. At the end of the day, because they are our lifeline. Especially, they may dispatch us to a call, and it turns out that call turns into something that they wind up having to be our lifeline, and they go through the same shit we go through. So. But at the end of the day, for final notes, at the end of the day, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, are you okay? If you're not okay, end the stigma, get the help.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
And if you've been bottling up all sorts of different things and never addressed it or let it out or handled it, then I would highly recommend that you do so.
Yep, 100%. Because at the end of the day, the only person that can take care of you is you.
Yep. So appreciate y'all coming out and watching. Everyone have a safe and blessed day today, and we'll see y'all next time.
Sir, appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
315 dispatch, 1028, 1042.
10-4, 315.